Hello everyone, good afternoon, here's Savita. Today is a wonderful day. Yesterday was also nice, but not as warm as today. I wasn't expecting that anymore in mid-September after all the rain and the cold evenings we had. But I'm really glad. And I would like to show you today the topiaries I have, the English yew topiaries. But before that, I'd like to talk to you about how I came to know and love the topiaries. In 1990, end of 1990, we moved in our house here and started the landscaping. 1991. It took us almost 2 years, I think 2 years altogether, to finish the landscaping. We did it all by ourselves, just my husband and me, and of course 3 small kids running around all over the place. It took us, just like I said, 2 years. It wasn't that easy. So after 2 years doing the landscaping, we finally started planning on what we like to have here, what plants we want to start with, and we decided on planting a hedge here, over here on the north side. And so we went to the nursery, and when we were there, I saw some English yew topiaries, and I told my husband I'd love to have some of those in our garden. But when I looked at the price tag, I was quite shocked, and I said, okay, it's worth a fortune, and we just can't afford it then. So we came home with 20 English yew plants, this big, and we started planting it here. And after several years, I noticed that there are some seedlings growing along this hedge. So I thought I can probably dig them out and try to start a topiary. So the first 4 that I did over here are now over 25 years, I think, and they look very good to me. And I also have several. They are all seedlings from this first hedge, and I still keep digging out English yew seedlings every year and giving it away to some friends. And I am starting my son's garden. I started actually last year, and I keep transferring my plants there, and someday I would like to show you. Anyway, please join me and I'll show you the English yew topiaries I have. That of course needs trimming now, but I'll be trimming it in 2 weeks. I always wait until it's October, early October, mid-October, before I trim them. I only trim them 2 times a year, and that's in February, when the birds didn't start nesting yet, and in October. Depends how the weather is. Sometimes later in October, sometimes earlier. Okay guys, please join me and enjoy the video. So this is my second try here. A while ago, while I was working on these seedlings to train as topiaries, I forgot to switch on my microphone, so let's do it over again. Anyway, what I did was rip off the foliage here that were growing on this main stem, and I've read someplace that if you rip off the foliage, there will be no new foliage or stems growing to the sides. But if you prune it, there will be some foliage growing to the sides from the nodes where you cut off the stem or the foliage. So it's always a better option to rip it off, and that way there is less chance of developing side stems. So that's what I did. I took all the foliage off, ripped them off until here. So I will leave this so it can still gather some energy from the sunshine. And next year it will have a new growth, maybe this high. And then this part, this foliage, I'll be ripping off again. So I will be doing that for several years until it reach a certain height that I'd like to have. And then I will let it grow. I will let it have more growth, side stems, until it's the crown is big enough to train. Then I'll be trimming it in shapes I'd like to have. This is the English yew. I did the same thing, but the only thing is that it already had a very thick stem here, very thick branch growing here, so I couldn't rip it off anymore. I took a pruner, pruned it very close to the main stem here, or trunk. Well, you cannot call it trunk, I guess it's still too small. Main stem, very clean. And I just have to make sure that when a new foliage grow here, to take it off, rip it off right away. So I did it all the way here. I ripped all the foliage here, left this part just like the holly, so it can gather some energy from the sunshine. And then next year there will be more growth, and I will be taking all these branches off and all the foliage here. So there will be side stems coming up here, and I will be training that every year the same way until I reach until it reach a certain height where I can let the side branches grow and cut it, form it in the way I'd like it. So that's how I did it, and that's how I did all the topiaries I have in the garden. It's just that I don't have anything in the pots because I keep forgetting them in winter and they usually dry up. So this time I'll leave it out here in the open sky so it can get some rain in winter, and I will try to give it some water once in a while so they won't dry up, and springtime they'll probably surprise me with some new growth. So there are 4 here, but I think it's really hard to see the 4th one because it's being covered by the honeysuckle that's climbing the wire that I put there. This is how it looks like from here. This one is the 3-tier topiary. It's an English yew. It just started growing there, a seedling, and I just thought I'll train it into a topiary. It looks good here. So that's what I did. I don't know how many years old this one is now, maybe 10, 15. And the top part is looking funny. It looks like a head with a lot of hair growing all over the place. It's because when I trimmed this last time, I didn't have a ladder nearby, and I thought I'll just trim it next time. And when my husband saw it, he said it looks good. It looks like a head with a lot of hair growing, sticking out all over the place. So I thought it looks good too, so I just left it that way. But I will be trimming it the right way in mid-October. This one is a 2-tier topiary, also in English yew. And just like the other one, I also found this and started training it. This is another topiary that I planted to provide us some privacy from the neighbor's terrace. It's another high one, of course, but my husband helps me once in a while, so it's okay. It's another topiary. It's a cone shape. It's hard to see it right now because of all the new growth it has, but I will be trimming them around mid-October together with the other topiaries I just showed you. This is another seedling here, an English yew seedling. I actually dug out one next to it already, and that's the one that I showed you how to start a topiary. And this is another one that I will be digging out soon and position it some other place to grow as topiary. So these are also English yews. They grow naturally that way. I don't have to cut them. Really slender and cylindrical, like topiaries look like. And I have 3 along the fence here to the south and have another one in front. So I didn't really buy them especially for that purpose, but when we bought the hedge, I noticed that there were a few that were growing differently, so I took them out and I planted them here. 3 of this here and another one in front. So this is another one of those tall, slender growing English yew that I have. This is the 4th. This one is one of the youngest topiary I have in the garden, and it just grew here and I didn't dug it out. I just left it, and then I started training one, and then the second one is here, and this is the thinnest one. I can still pull it down, so it will be like 3. I have to take some branches off here because I want this to grow a little higher, and yes, that's how I do it. This needs some trimming now, and I will be doing that next week. So that's it for now, and thank you for watching, and hope to see you again in 2 days. Bye now. Have a nice day.